what made you decide to share with the world that you had OCD?
I didn't. I did it by accident. I had been diagnosed with OCD and didn't want to tell anybody for fear of how people would react. I thought it would embarrass my family, my kids. People wouldn't give me work anymore. I would be bullied. But I was on Howard Stern, and I didn't want to touch the doorknob to get out. And I asked if somebody could open the door because there's germs, and they thought it was funny. And they said, no, you open it. And I went to grab a Kleenex to open the door with a tissue, and they took the tissue away from me. And I said to him, you know, Howard, I've been diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder, and if you don't open the door and let me out, I can't breathe right now, you're gonna have to call 911. This is legitimate, and I take medication. And they opened the door, and they went out in the hall, and I could hear the broadcast. And I thought we were in a commercial. And I didn't realize that I just broadcasted that whole thing publicly. And I was so embarrassed, devastated, and I walked down into the street, and I didn't know where to turn. I was so afraid of what was going to happen next. And some guy came up to me in my periphery and said, are you Howie Mandel? And I said, yeah. He goes, I just heard you on Howard. And I thought, oh my God, my heart sunk. Like, I just thought this is the beginning of it. And he just said 2 words to me. He went, me too. And I went, what? And he goes, I have obsessive, thank you for talking about it. And I went, okay. So first time I ever heard somebody else, it was the first connection. That made me feel a little bit better. And I started getting mail. I got flooded with a ton of mail of people who said that they felt more comfortable that I mentioned it. And that's when I decided to be open about it. And my mission is to remove the stigma from anything that feels different.
I am going to slowly type out my question.
Cool.
You are dedicated to charitable causes, led a protest against cuts to education, and are now studying human rights and equity. I was denied access to a full education because I am non-speaking and use typing to communicate. I had to battle my way out of a segregated classroom and was recently accepted to university. I am wondering what sparked your interest, and where will you focus your advocacy going forward?
Well, thank you for that question. I'm so sorry that you weren't able to get access to full education. That's so wrong. So it's really awesome that you got accepted into uni. That's so dope. Like, round of applause for that. That's so sick. Both my parents always taught my brother and I, if you see an injustice, you have to speak up. Like, there's no other option. With advocacy, it's something that I never want to stop. I know my parents would look at me and think what happened to their daughter if I stopped fighting for people's rights and all rights. You can't care about bodily autonomy without also caring about access to education. It's all intertwined.
I heard that you didn't have such a great relationship with your mom growing up, but that it's changed now over time. And I was wondering kind of what happened. Like, was it you that changed? Was it her that changed? Or was it like a little bit of both that like repaired your relationship?
Well, it's funny because my mom doesn't realize that we had a strained relationship when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. Because, so my mom's not changed at all.
Yeah, okay.
I had to understand my mom. I wouldn't say I had a bad relationship either when I was a kid. It's just that my mom is very fair-skinned. So, and when I was getting racially bullied when I was a kid in the park, and I would come home, and my mom wouldn't give me that much sympathy. I was assuming she was because she was white. Yeah. I was like, oh, you're white. That's why you're acting like that. She's like, I'm from India. How am I white? And I'm like, well, you're very fair-skinned. And I'm like, and I'm like, doesn't matter. You're one of them to me, right? Yeah. But that's always been her way of dealing with it. She's never like, oh my God, are you okay? She's never been that person. Yeah. I don't think she's capable of being that person. But that's fine. That's just who mom is, you know? You got to accept people the way they are.
For sure.
Yeah, you can't change them. So if you want to really be what's around people, you have to bend the way you think to understand the way they think.
That's good advice from my mom.
There you go, see? Let her know.
Have you always had a love for people? As an introvert myself, I find extroverts interesting.
That's such a good question, Luke. Oh, you make me cry. No.
Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you. So I'm an introvert too, Luke. And people think I'm an extrovert because I'm on TV and I'm out there as a public personality. But I think introverts are just people who feel things inside, but it doesn't mean that they don't like people, right? Just because you're introverted doesn't mean you don't like people. And I love people, but I like having just a few people around me at a time. Reason I'm crying is my parents taught me to love people. But I am very much an introvert, very insecure introvert. So it's interesting how we can see people on the outside and we can judge them for what we see and we think they're a certain way, but we never know what people are feeling on the inside, right? Right. It's a really great question, Luke, and thank you for recording it.
I read in your book that one of the reasons that you drank was because you were scared of being successful. How did you become friends with that feeling?
I am an alcoholic. I can say that without any question. I know for a fact, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that part of the problem that I had with alcohol was genetics. My father handed me a drinking problem like a $20 bill. It was already part of my DNA. I didn't drink all the time, but when I did drink, I was a binger. It was like all bets were off. I mean, I once lost my car for 3 weeks. I didn't know where it was. I've been sober now for 10 years next month.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You talked about how do I reconcile myself with those feelings of being anxious or feeling not worthy, feeling like I don't deserve this piece of success to happen to me. I was desperate to become the person that I knew I could be, like a person that was reliable, a person of their word and responsible and steadfast. And I just didn't want to live being ashamed of myself all the time, and I just thought, I can do this. I leaned on my friends a lot, and I started talking about my problems instead of hiding them away. I'm very proud of myself, but I have to continually be vigilant and gentle with my soul. Like when I make mistakes, it's just like, that's okay. You just get up, keep going.
Just be kind to yourself.
Be kind to yourself. But thank you so much for asking me.
Thanks for sharing. I really appreciate that.